The next one we're going to talk about is budgeting for a motorcycle. So that was a big comment, and it kind of went off of hey, I'm 18, I want to get a motorcycle, but like how would I budget for it? And a lot of it was for, should I budget gear? Should I budget for the bike too? And I always say budget for the gear with the bike. So I always say add an extra $500 to $1,000 to it. But then it started getting even more because I like to dig deep into these questions. So I'm thinking like, how would you budget for? I mean, you get the sticker price, but then when you leave the door, it's obviously different because you got to pay taxes, you got to pay all that stuff. So how? Because I remember as a kid, I went in and I wanted to buy a computer. This is a pretty embarrassing story, but I wanted to buy a computer, and the sticker price was like $799. I walked in with $800. I was like, I want to buy it, and they're like, you got taxes too. I'm like, shit. So like, I was young, but there's people out there that might not know how to do that. This might be their first vehicle or something. So I mean, what would you think about like walking in? Let's say it's just say $10,000 for a bike. How would you walk in, and like what would you recommend people would walk in with? Like how much? I know it's a pretty old generalized statement because there's a bunch of different variables, but
yeah, man, that's too. I don't know. I mean, bring all the money you can. No, I don't. I mean, it. That's why it's so nice for people to go into the dealership and talk to them before they actually fucking buy it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a better understanding of what it's going to take with registration and title fees and sales tax, and then if it's a new bike, there's other fees on new bikes and such like that. So it's beneficial to walk in there, kind of do what you do. Mm-hmm. If it's your first dealership, if you don't know this, it's probably one of your first dealership visits regardless.
Yeah.
And that goes back to one of our previous videos of about buying a bike from a dealership and kind of what to expect. And you go in there and you hang out and you talk to them, and then you get to the point where you're talking numbers, and you don't even have to be ready to buy. You could just seriously say, hey man, I see the bike is $9,000. I know there's sales tax and some other shit. Can you give me an idea of what it's going to take out the door is the big number, or the thing that people say. And then you can kind of sort it out and see exactly what it's going to take to get it there. That way, when you are ready and you know what to budget for, and then you could look at fucking helmets and jackets and all this other shit that you're going to need. And then you have a complete idea of what it's going to take to get exactly what you need. And at that point, you can lay the foundation for how to budget it.
Yeah.
Or you just finance it and let the bank budget it for you. You just
okay. So
you pay that
for financing. It's like I walk in and I got like $1,000. Just whatever down payment still comes out to $10,000, and we're out there signing paperwork. I mean, somebody says here dealer fees, like a destination charge.
Totally.
That's kind of freaky for me. Like, I mean, I have like $10,000. This is what I feel like I can afford, but then all of a sudden it comes out to like 12, and I'm like screwed. I feel like I'm screwed.
Yeah.
So like with financing, like interest rates and stuff, are car interest rates different than motorcycle interest rates?
Yeah. So in the car world, they, there's 0% financing on cars, like nonstop. And the reason being is that there's so much competition out there, and then cars are they're necessities. Yeah. Motorcycles are considered luxuries in a lot of ways, to where you don't need them, even though we do need them. So sometimes rates are a little bit higher, but man, they're not that much higher. You know what I mean? So, I would, there's a lot of different avenues you can take. If you bank with somebody else, you can go in there and see what they do as far as motorcycle loans go. And then you talk to the guys you talk to guys like me at the dealership, and you say, hey, what's the best rate available? Saying that I have perfect credit or whatever it is. And then I could just tell you what it is, and then you can kind of do some math at home. There's fucking mortgage loan calculators and stuff like that, and you can kind of get an idea. Or just ask me, and I'd say, yeah, you're probably around here, with this much down, with all your gear and stuff like that. This is what you're probably looking at, and if that works, then we do the application and all that other shit. So there's ways to do it, and it just honestly. If they go to the dealership and talk to them and then do some homework and then watch our videos and shit like that, they'll have a better idea what to do. So
yeah, I remember I had to like call my insurance to put the bike or get a quote at least for that. So that's like something extra that I had to do.
You have to have insurance.
So make sure you guys, if you're gonna look at a bike, call your insurance company. It's easier just to call. I have the Geico app, and I tried to do it over the Geico apps, and I was like, screw it. I just called, and it was simple, super quick. I just had to get a VIN.
Yep.
And all that stuff. But that was basically when I decided to get the bike. There's no like crazy hidden fees, like anything like all of a sudden they'll pop up. I mean, there's the dealer fee, there's the dealer destination fee, right? That's like roughly, depends, about $500.
Yeah, it's all based on like what the factory charges.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So those are legitimate fees, and some dealerships charge certain amounts, and then some dealerships charge you exactly what the factory charges. The dealership to get them there. And then some are exorbitant, and where they're just way more than what the factory even charges. So yeah, there's usually destination and like setup, and then doc fee.
Doc fee. Oh, the documents.
Yeah,
Okay.
documentation fee. So those are all kind of general dealership fees that most dealerships have, and then there's some bikes that don't have that. And then there's some that do. Yeah, $1,000 for freight. You
bought a Harley.
Oh. Dan, you got to come see me, man.
Yeah, come on down here. I'll get you
Anyway, so, no, freight's probably, it's clearly a long way to you, Dan, from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So.
So the, was it the dealer fee and all that? I asked some questions. I was looking up. I was like, man, why does it cost so much and all that stuff? So when you guys get the bikes, for some reason, I just assumed they're all freaking put together. Everything's fine. You just roll it out onto the floor. When you guys get the bikes, you have to actually do a bunch of work. I mean, there's no fluids in it, so you have to put fluids in and all that stuff. Or
no, they have some fluids in them.
Is that why we have to bring it back in within 500 miles?
Yeah. So when they're brand new, they have like special break-in oils and stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's why it's so important to get that shit out during the first service. But that stuff comes from the factory, so they have fluid in them. Some don't have all the fluids in them, like brake fluid and stuff like that. Sometimes we have to put the brake fluid in. But they come in crates, and some are more assembled than others. Some are like fully disassembled, and they got to be put together. But some
like a bicycle from Walmart.
Yeah, and then some you have to just roll out. You put mirrors, handlebars, tighten everything, but they go through the entire thing front to back for setup and stuff like that. So, so it's like a half a day process for a lot of like big bikes and stuff like that to get them all situated and ready to rock.
That makes sense for the charge,
delivery,
because then you got to pay the guy to do it.
Yeah, so it's that's some people charge more and then some people charge less, but it's legitimate. Like, the service department bills me.
Yeah.
To get that done. Because they're working back there, so it's legitimate, and that's just kind of the way it is. But some don't require as much prep as others, But the big bikes, they have a lot of shit, and then
I can assume.
And then they torque down a lot of stuff. They make sure everything's good to go, and then they take them for test rides after they're done to make sure everything's good. And then software. A lot of it is software. So they get plugged in the computer and then fucking download all the fresh software and stuff like that. Like
that takes a while.
That's the problem with the new stuff, is that it's all technology based and there's a lot of shit going on. So that takes time and effort also. So
cool.
Yeah.
Damn. There's a lot that goes into that.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
But, for the guy who's just going to the dealership and they don't think of those fees because, we get legitimate, we get people that say, well, why the fuck do I have to pay destination if it's already here?
Yeah.
Well,
I was kind of like that, but I didn't say anything.
Yeah, well, it's because that's just something that gets incurred to you sometimes. So, yeah, man, it's they charge us destination. If you want it, here it is. And then freight or prep, you got to have it built.
Yeah.
Write it. So
can you just ship it to my house like disassembled?
Yeah, good luck. Your warranty is probably not going to work. Joe Schmo off the streets putting his fucking bike together.
I don't want that expert assembly that I get with all that shit.
I'm only on 2 wheels.
I can make it work.
No big deal.
Shit.
Dipshit.
So the next thing, this was actually a full-on comment. I don't think it was really a question, but actually, yeah, part of it's a question. So I'm just gonna read it out loud. I got this on the Discord, so if you guys are wanting to check out the Discord, I can put a link in the description. But I think all of you guys are here. I think I think include when to walk away from a deal is a good topic. I'm sure Matt's business practices are good, but there's a lot of people out there who feel pressured to buy even when they aren't getting what they came in for. Talking about a friend, totally not me at all. So people get pressured. Like, do you think? I mean, it obviously happens. You can't, like you said, you can't speak for anyone else.
Right.
But I could totally see like that used car salesman thing, like, oh, don't leave, just come back, and pressuring somebody.
Totally.
Into
No,
buying a bike.
that absolutely happens in a lot of places. You know, it happens in the car world a lot. I've bought a lot of different vehicles, and I know how it feels. So, how
You've been talking this whole time. I'm like eating nachos and shit.
how I run the shop is kind of based on how I want to feel if I'm sitting on the other side of the desk buying the bike from me. And so that's how I do things. And so if I don't feel like I would enjoy fucking buying a bike for myself, then there's a problem. So no, man, I don't here's what everybody needs to understand is that they can't put a fucking gun to your head and tell you to buy it. You know, like if you need time to dissect things and think about it, you have that luxury. Like, just fucking leave, you know, like you don't be afraid to walk out. If you feel like they're pressuring the shit out of you and it's like aggressive and it's not good, then just go away, like leave. You know what I mean? And then call the next dealership over and try them out. Like, don't be afraid to walk out the door. Obviously it's beneficial to buy a deal, you know, from a dealership that lives in your same town, you know, but if they act like that, which, you know, I mean, people do. Then,
I mean, you're spending a lot of money on something.
Totally. Spending your hard-earned cash. Like, you could absolutely fucking leave. You know what I mean? So, the big thing for dealerships is, and this goes back to our other video, is that if it's a good dealership, they're trying to figure out what exactly you require in order to purchase the bike. You know what I mean? So, if there's something holding you back and you're not telling the dealership, how the fuck are they supposed to know if they could help you? You know what I mean? So if you come in the dealership and you want to buy the bike, and we're going over numbers and such, and you say, okay, well, I gotta go, or I'm not gonna buy it, and I say, well, what's holding you back? And you don't give me any answer. There's nothing that I can do in my office to try to figure out what I can do for you to make it work for you.
So it's good just to be honest. Be like, you know
what?
Fuck
yeah, man.
It might be embarrassing. It might be embarrassing.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, you're right. It could be embarrassing, but I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh my God, you dork.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like, so if you could be honest, and hopefully you've created by now some sort of rapport with the guy you're talking to where you can be honest and it's okay with you. You know, not everybody's trying to fuck you.
Yeah.
You know, that's not how it goes. You know, so there's dealerships out there, but you pick up on that vibe pretty damn fast. So if you're comfortable with them and you're trying to figure it out, I mean, these dealerships, I mean, there's so many different ways we can make things work financially for folks. We just need to know what the real issue is. So if it's if it's the monthly payment, then let me try to find a remedy. If it's the down payment, let me try to figure out a solution for that.
Yeah, because like sometimes, like, you know, I can afford $200 a month. I can't afford this $250 or $280.
Right. And so just fucking tell me, and then I can see what I can do to figure that out. Whether that's discounting something or getting a longer term, you know, instead of a 5-year, we do a 6-year. It drops your payment, you know, and it's flexible for you. Or is it the right fucking color?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, like, and they're not giving me shit, but it's because they don't like the damn color. You know, and they could have just said, I wish it was red, and that's it, man. Like, that's it.
It's like, we can make it red.
You know, trying to figure it out. So just you can try to be honest with folks, but don't feel afraid to walk away. But you know, try to, if you've gotten to this point, try to give them the real issue, the real problem, and the real solution, and let them see if they can do it. And if they don't, then you can still leave. You know, like, you can still walk away and get out, and then, you know, take some time to digest things. Maybe shop a different dealer. You know, whatever you got to do to figure it out. And then if another dealer's willing to do it, then call those guys back and say, hey man, is there a reason why we can't come up with this? Because they can do it. Why can't I get there here? And then maybe it's different. Maybe they have something else on the bike that doesn't make it work or whatever the fuck. Like car dealerships, they do they're notorious. Car dealerships will take every vehicle on the lot and they'll put window tint and like door trim, or like some weather seal, and it's like $600 fucking dollars, So if you're shopping a price and it's $600 a part or whatever that is, if that was the issue, be like, hey man, they were able to do it. I'd love to buy it here. Why can't you guys get that done for me? And then they're like, well, comes with fucking tint and door trim shit, and we don't do that here,
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't know, man. Every dealership's different. It's weird. Motorcycles don't have that same stuff, but
yeah, definitely. I guess like shop around, because I know when I go in, every single time I went in to go get a bike, I wanted to get it that day.
Fuck yeah.
So I went in, got my Sportster. I was like, I want to get a Sportster.
What about a Sportster? And those guys probably hit you in the head with a hammer.
$999 freight charge.
Yeah, and then $1,000 for setup and a $700 dock fee, and then sales tax, but we'll deliver it for free.
Yeah, there you go.
Because you're right down the goddamn street. So anyway, that happens, and then you bought a warranty and all that.
Have you ever told somebody like, hey, it looks a little like you're on the edge. Do you want to take a day? Have you ever told anybody that?
I told a guy last weekend not to buy the bike because he didn't look like he liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to do when you're trying to sell bikes.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously I need to sell bikes in order to make a living. But I almost don't look at it that way because I don't want to, the guy was picking out a lot of different, it was a used bike. So it had some miles on it and some scratches and shit like that. And so he was picking out everything wrong with it. And I just got the feeling that it wasn't the right one. And I said, look, man, this isn't the right bike for you, and I would suggest looking for something else. Because the last thing I want to do is sell you a fucking motorcycle and have you back a week later not happy or you're pissed off.
Yeah.
Even though you made the decision to purchase it, and I'm extremely transparent because I'm looking at you with it, and you're pointing out all this shit wrong with it, and then I'm saying, well, yeah, man, that's like bike. That. It is what it is. And so finally, I mean, a lot of it was me just getting tired of fucking dealing with it, to be honest. But another part of me was I absolutely felt like he wasn't buying the right bike, and he could go out and it was a great deal on the bike, but he could go spend $1,000 more and get a bike exactly that fits him. And to me, $1,000 fucking worth it.
Yeah.
If it's perfect. So
cool.
Yeah, man, I'm pretty transparent. I'm extremely honest, probably a little too honest, but
yeah, I know
that is what it is. So
well, that's good business ethics, to be honest. That's the way I look at it.
Business ethics.
If you guys don't get that reference, we can't be friends. That was good. That was really fun. We had 3 topics there. That was 30 minutes, dude.
The real answer, though, to is there a good time to buy a motorcycle, and the answer is whenever the fuck you want a motorcycle. That's when it's a good time.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's right.
I wake up tomorrow and I go, hey, man, I want to buy a bike. Oh, it's a good fucking day. It's a good time. I'm going to go buy that motherfucker.